Let's talk a little bit about how you got into public service. We met when you were treasurer, I think, actually. So you have had a career as a city councilwoman and then a state senator, and then you spent 2 terms as treasurer of the state of North Carolina.
Yep.
So before, I want to ask you about then coming back to the mayor, but just how did you get into public service at all? Like, why was this your path? Was this always your passion?
Just gravitated towards it. And my dad was a Methodist minister. My mother was a school teacher. So certainly grew up in a household that was very mission-driven, values-driven. And while not explicitly in politics, there are commonalities of being mayor and feeling like, to some extent, you've got a congregation of 500,000 that you are trying to shepherd and sort of take care of. That sounds, patronizing. So, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of two-way, sort of relationship here, but there are commonalities between the ministry and teaching and being mayor.
Yeah, for sure. And I think part of that is this sense of community. I was going to see if I could find you. You had I was looking at your campaign slogan. What was it? Was leadership, community, partnerships, maybe, or something along those lines? Collaboration. And so obviously to you, the community piece of this is super important. And you talk a lot in the language you use around all the work you're doing about how you're partnering with, whether it's the business community or nonprofits or the city at large, and engaging people in the process. That's first noble and important. And secondly, it's hard right now to get people's attention. You're competing with lots of things. Have you, what are some of the ways you found to engage people in the process, and why is it important to do that?
Yeah, well, first I would say the necessary part is that some cities have an incredible amount of authority. You think about like a New York City, right, that has a lot of authority.
Yeah.
And a lot of southern cities were really more entities of the state. And so there is a lot more give and take. You have a city manager, you've got the state general assembly. Yeah. So you have to partner, basically, right?
Yeah,
I mean, if you really want to get things done.
Yeah.
I will give an example of a big project I worked on, which is Dix Park. The city bought it from the state and made it into a 300-acre kind of central park. The city, certainly has resources, but to really build a park like that, private dollars, philanthropic dollars, that public-private partnership, made it the really special place that it is. 20-acre playground, incredible public art that's gotten national attention. So that's just one example of, cities can do a lot, even, high growth, resource, fairly well off cities.
Yeah.
But there's still limits.
Yeah, sure.
And then there's things like the housing, which innately, the city's not out there building their own housing. They have to partner with nonprofits, developers, churches. So finding those partners that have the motivation and alignment, and then leveraging your efforts. And, I also say just on, the parks and greenways, we've got one other special thing about Raleigh is the greenway system that was developed in the 80s. So all the creeks in Raleigh were preserved, and we have greenways running along them. So we have 100 plus miles of greenway all through the city, these nature trails, but this is the South, poison ivy, wisteria, kudzu, and if you wanted to pay for all of that cleanup, it would cost you a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. Engaging neighborhoods, volunteers, Boy Scouts, youth groups.
Yeah.
All of those ways it helps the city, but it also helps people get engaged in their own community, get to know their own backyards, get closer to nature.